Factoring negative 144 x squared plus 36. All right, this looks like difference of squares, and it is, but it's also common factors. Okay, so we're going to factor out a common term first, and then we're going to see if there's difference of squares. Okay, so what's common to 144 and 36? Or what's common to negative 144 and 36? Why, 36. Okay, 36 goes into both. So yes, it's difference of squares, but with a common factor. You want to deal with that first. So I'm going to pull out the negative 36. I'm pulling out negative because the first term is negative, and it turns out to be a little bit easier. Okay, if you want to factor out a positive, it'll still work. All right, so if I factor out negative 36, negative 36 times 4 is negative 144. Negative 36 times negative 1 is positive 36. So we factor out the negative 36, we're left with 4x squared minus 1. And we're going to do difference of squares with that. Okay, so the square root of 4 is 2, the square root of 1 is 1, so 2x plus 1, 2x minus 1. Okay, and remember, we got the 2x by doing the square root of the first term, and we got the 1s by doing the square root of the last term, okay, which were 1s up here. Okay, so that's our answer. So let's go and fill that in the program and see if we're right. All right, so it was negative 36, and we pulled out 36 from the 144. We were left with 4. The square root of 4 is 2x. The square root of 4x squared is 2x. When we factored out the 36, we were left with negative 1, and so we're going to get plus and minus 1. So 2x plus 1, and then 2x minus 1. So let me just copy that and paste and put the negative there, and that's it. Okay, ta-da! All right, let's do another example. So we have 16a squared minus 9. There's no common term here. There's no common factor. So it's just straightforward difference of squares. So we're going to do the square root of 16, which is 4a, and the square root of 9, which is 3. So 4a plus 3, 4a minus 3. See how easy that is? And that's that. Here we have a common factor. I'm going to factor out the negative 36. And we're left with 1 and 1. Okay, so we're left with, once I factor that out, I'm left with m squared minus 1. Okay, and if you're not sure about it, just expand it and see if you don't get the answer up here. Negative 36 times m squared is negative 36m squared. Negative 36 times negative 1 is positive 36. So this is correct. Okay, and then we do difference of squares with m squared minus 1, which is going to be m plus 1, m minus 1. So there's my m plus 1, here's my m minus 1, and then we press return. Okay, once again, 144 is the common factor, and we're left with a squared minus 1, so we're going to get a plus 1 and a minus 1. All right, what's common here is negative 36 again, and so we're going to be left with n to the power of 2, and minus 4. So difference of squares again. So that's n plus 2, n minus 2. Okay, and here we don't have a common term. We have a negative first. If you want, you can factor out that negative. I'm just going to show you another way of doing it. It's still difference of squares. So I could switch the 121 and the negative 4. B squared. So I can put the 121 first, and then we end up getting the square root of 121 is 11. The square root of the 4b squared is 2b squared is 2b. So 11 plus 2b, and then 11 minus 2b. Okay, that's still totally legal to do. Okay, so you could do it that way. You could do 2b plus 11 minus 2b plus 11. Those are all acceptable. Okay. Maybe I have time for one more. Okay, I'm going to factor out the negative. See, this is the way I like to do it. Factor out the negative. You're left with n squared minus 144, so n plus 12, n minus 12. Okay, and that's it. Have a good night.